This is the world news at 12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Shoma Innocent, and here are the top stories. Trump to meet Zelensky as U.S. envoy says ending war with Russia down to one issue. More than 10 terrorists dead as ISWAP Boko Haram renew rivalry in Borno State. Right advocate alleges 3 trailer loads of Lakurawa fighters entered Sokoto from Sahel in August. And North Central APC Forum once against dropping Shatima in 2027. Details now. Thank you for staying tuned. The world news at 12 begins with the U.S. President Donald Trump to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at Davos today after his envoy Steve Witkoff expressed optimism about finalizing a deal to end the war in Ukraine. Witkoff did not specify the single issue, but recent talks have focused on the future status of Ukraine's industrial heartland in Donbass, with a proposal for a demilitarized and free economic zone in exchange for security guarantees for Kyiv. Ahead of Witkoff's visit to Moscow with Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, the U.S. president said on Wednesday that he thought Putin and Zelensky were at a point where they could come together and get a deal done. Last week, Trump said he thought Putin was ready to make a deal, but that Zelensky was less ready. The Ukrainian president traveled through the night to get to Davos on Thursday. He had initially called off the trip to deal with the aftermath of Russian strikes on Kyiv's power infrastructure, which have left large areas of the capital without heating, water or power during the harshest winter so far in almost 4 years of Russia's full-scale wars. Zelensky said after talks with Trump in Miami late last month that a 20-point U.S. plan to end the war was 90% ready and that Ukraine's position on Donbass in eastern Ukraine was different to Russia's. Back home in Nigeria, more than 10 fighters were killed on Tuesday during a violent clash between the Islamic State West Africa province ISWAP and the Bukura faction loyal to Abu Umaima in Borno State. The incident occurred along the Lake Chad Basin axis of Abadam local government area, according to a post on X by counter-insurgency security expert Zagazola Makama. Security sources told Makama that the fighting broke out around Dogonchiku Buhari village, a border community in Abadam local government area, less than 1 kilometer from the Nigeria-Niger border. The sources said fighters of the Bukura faction, believed to be operating from settlements on the Niger Republic side of the Lake Chad Basin, attacked ISWAP elements based on the Nigerian side of the border. Tubum Mota village is located east of Malam Fatari, about 19 kilometers away, an area that has remained a frequent flashpoint for rival extremist groups operating around the Lake Chad Basin. In a recent development, Stephen Kefas, founder of the Community Development and Rights Advocacy Foundation, has alleged that about 3 trailer loads of Lakurawa fighters entered Sokoto State from the Sahel region through Niger in August last year without any intervention by authorities. Kefas made the claim today while fielding questions on a Monitor television program. He said the influx of foreign fighters is part of a growing security challenge sustained by funds generated through kidnapping and ransom payments. According to him, a close associate who spent about 4 months in captivity and was released in October last year revealed that arms suppliers usually arrived at terrorist camps on the same day ransom payments are delivered. He said the ransom money is immediately used to purchase weapons. Kefa said the practice shows that kidnapping has become a means of raising funds to acquire arms, warning that the trend suggests the insecurity may persist if not urgently addressed. He further stated that fighters continue to enter Nigeria from countries such as Mali and Niger, while ransom payments provide a steady source of funding for weapons acquisition, enabling terrorist groups to expand their operations. Kafas noted that insecurity has spread to states previously considered less affected, including Kwara and Kogi, which he said are now witnessing similar criminal activities. Meanwhile, about 5,000 individuals suspected of involvement in terrorism-related activities are currently being held in pre-trial detention facilities across the country. The large number of detainees has created a significant backlog over terrorism cases. This was contained in the 2025-2030 strategic plan of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC. It disclosed that its legal team, working with the Defense Headquarters and the Federal Ministry of Justice, has been reviewing the files to fast-track prosecutions or dismiss cases lacking sufficient evidence. The NCTC said in 2024, the support provided through this framework led to the prosecution of 393 terrorism-related cases, resulting in 329 convictions. It added that this pushed Nigeria's conviction rate in terrorism cases to 84%, a sharp increase from 41.5% recorded in 2018. The NCTC said charges against about 1,200 detainees were reviewed and ultimately dismissed, leading to their release or resettlement into their communities. Also, according to the document, Nigeria is set to introduce DNA profiling into a proposed national database of terrorism as part of renewed efforts to strengthen investigations, prosecutions, and intelligence sharing on terrorist groups. It outlined how biometric data, including DNA, will be used to identify, track, and prosecute members of prescribed terrorist organizations. According to the document, the database will be domiciled within the Office of the National Security Advisor and will serve as a central repository of information on known and suspected terrorists. Now to political matters. The North Central All Progressives Congress APC Forum has rejected moves to drop Vice President Kashim Shettima as President Bola Tinubu's running mate ahead of the 2027 general elections, warning that such a step would amount to grave political miscalculation. The forum's position was contained in a statement issued today in Abuja by its chairman, Alhaji Saleh Zazaga, following reports that some persons within the ruling party were pushing for Shettima's replacement. The speculation was fueled after the vice president's photograph was omitted from a banner bearing images of APC leaders in the Northeast during the party's zonal public hearing on the amendment of its constitution in Maiduguri. The banner featured President Tinubu, 5 APC governors from the zone, and the party's national legal advisor. The development has reignited debate over the viability of the APC's Muslim presidential ticket in 2027 and Shettima's political future. Some stakeholders within the party have reportedly called for his replacement with a Christian from the north. In particular, some groups from the North Central region have demanded that a Christian from the area should be selected as President Tinubu's running mate in the next election. However, the North Central APC Forum warned that replacing Shettima would be disastrous for the party and could jeopardize President Tinubu's re-election bid. They added that the North Central is not angling for the vice presidential slot, noting that the region is focused on contesting the presidency in 2031 after Tinubu's tenure, cautioning against injecting religious sentiment into political calculations. The forum argued that the North currently lacks a Christian candidate with sufficient grassroots support, national appeal, and political structure to complement Tinubu's electoral strength as a running mate. It maintained that abandoning the Muslim ticket would only strengthen the opposition in 2027. Still on political matters, the Labour Party faction loyal to Abia State Governor Alex Oti has called for reconciliation and unity in the party following Wednesday's judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to recognize the Senator Nenadi Usman-led Keteka Committee and effectively sack Julius Abure as national chairman of the party. The interim national chairman of the faction, Senator Nenadi Usman, made the appeal in a statement issued by her senior special advisor on media, Ken Asogwa, describing the ruling as a critical opportunity to heal deep-seated divisions within the party rather than worsen the leadership crisis. According to her, the judgment should mark a turning point for the party. However, in a swift statement on Wednesday, Abure rejected the judgment, vowing to challenge it on appeal. In a statement issued by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, Abure insisted that the judgment contradicted the April 2025 verdict of the Supreme Court on the party's leadership dispute. He described Justice Lee Fu's verdict as a misrepresentation of the Apex Court's decision and an unwarranted intrusion into the internal affairs of the party. Earlier on Wednesday, Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court held that Abure's tenure as national chairman had elapsed and ordered INEC to recognize the caretaker committee headed by Nenadi Usman pending the conduct of the party's national convention. The OT-backed faction reacting to the judgment urged all tendencies within the party, including those dissatisfied with the ruling, to embrace dialogue in the interest of rebuilding the party. I've now been joined by Mr. Awa Omiko of the Sunday editorial desk to give us his own perspective on the issues this afternoon. How are you doing today, sir? Welcome to the World News at 12.
Hello. Afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good to have you here. Welcome to the World News at 12.
Oh, thank you.
Let's begin with a conversation about insecurity, whereby we're getting reports that there are fights between factions, not just factions, there are fights between blocks of terrorists in a part of the north in Borno State. ISWAP and Boko Haram are fighting each other. There's a renewed rivalry. More than 10 terrorists have died. You know, it reminds one of the Christian Bible story, whereby, the enemies were fighting each other. Right? So there is the question of if Nigerians should rejoice about it, but there is also the more important question of how the Nigerian land that has been said over and over again to be sovereign, it is on this same land that rival factions of terrorists are fighting to gain prominence.
Just like the case of personalizing the union is nothing new. In fact, every illegality, every illegal group will have something of such nature. And you can see that the case, and where our own case seems to be a little bit upward, is that we have foreigners entering our borders, infiltrating the borders, and these foreigners were rather given the fairway to come in by our leaders just for their own selfish reasons. And if you actually look into the fractionalization of those, you will discover that it is going to be the Nigerian factor and the foreign factor, and the foreign factor that's going to be that. Do that as it means. It could be a win-win, it could probably be a lose-win, depending on the outcome of this personalization. But I must say, this is a period our own security architecture should actually have the same grip on them. Because once the center is weak, every other aspect of it crumbles. So we have to look for a way of chasing them out and putting and clearing them out of our territory. Or else we're going to get a higher punishment for that. Punishment in the sense that a higher intrusion by higher power against us, just as the US has promised and it began to do. So we need to be much more proactive and to take advantage of this. Either the Christian fold, you need not to say it has to be the Christian fold alone. It is a war against Nigerians, and a war which all should affect it. Thank you.
While we're talking about this, it's actually a clash in the Nigeria-Niger border. So some of the terrorists are within Niger, some of them are within the borders of Nigeria. I've asked this question before. How come it's difficult for Nigeria to collaborate with our Sahelian neighbors that are within our borders here, that we have very porous borders, that people can walk in, Nigerians can walk into Niger, Nigerians can walk into Nigeria? Why has it been difficult for us to collaborate with our West African neighbors to fight this insurgency? And we're going outside the shores of Africa, all the way to the US to seek help.
We don't have the technical know-how. We don't have the wherewithal. You look at the report from satellite and how they've been able to use it to actually check security. So because we don't have that technical know-how, that is why our people, our security men are even finding it difficult to fight. Because in a situation, you can see when the US came in and what they did within the short period of time they came in and what they did. And that shows you they have the higher power. And the situation we have today, the fighting we have today, instead of soldiers of occupation, It's a war of technology. It's a war of intellect. It's a war where your mind does not really your mind does not really depend on your population, but on your ability to apply technical know-how and the intelligence.
So
And that is
our
exactly
West African
what
neighbors are not intelligent enough.
they're not. They don't have the wherewithal. Please, they don't have. Let us not talk about that. They don't have the wherewithal when we begin to talk about the technology. But we don't have. I mean, have you ever seen the armory of the US? Look at the way Sarah and Sokoto were disarmed. Have you ever seen? Don't you remember the way they came into Nigeria to the Niger Delta to take away the persons, the officials, Nigerian militia held, and yet without costing anyhow, because we don't have the technical know-how. And besides, our leaders are playing politics with security, and that is why things like this are happening. And until we are serious about it, get to the grassroots. We are serious about it. Try to find out reasons why these things are and nip them in the bud. If that is not done, we keep on having the shamble of presentation and security architecture we claim we have in the name of protecting the country. Thank you.
Mr. Awa, if we're saying that our neighbors, right here, by our right and left, they do not have the technical know-how, they don't have the wherewithal, they don't have the military might, but they also do not have terrorism. They don't have terrorism as much as we have it. If it's there, it's around the border. It's almost like it's the one happening in Nigeria that is affecting them around the border regions. It's not happening in their capital city. It's not happening. We do not hear of it as much as we hear of what's going on in Nigeria, where almost the whole region has been ravaged.
I agree with you. They don't have it as we have it in Nigeria. The Nigerian case was orchestrated by the government, by just to make sure that they remain in power, by a certain group of people, just to mean that they remain in power. But if you go through the borders of Niger, Cameroon, Chad, they have it and they operate there. In fact, terrorism is not a new thing to those people. It has been an age-long thing. When we begin to talk about caravan, the period of caravan, it has been with them. And when we begin to talk about paying toll of passage, it has been with them. But it says that they have not used it to the magnitude the Nigerian people are using it, because we politicalize our own and introduce a new faction into it by bombing and claiming and even try to regionalize it, and which is not true and which is not proper. And until we remove the politics and we face the real thing, we're going to break them to pieces. If not, if we refuse to do the needful, they will continue to play games with our lives. And I say they will never succeed. And thank God they have been personalized. And that is how we're going to change the rest of the country. Thank you.
All right, let's quickly talk about the founder of the Community Development and Rights Advocacy Foundation alleging that about 3 trailer loads of Lakurawa fighters entered Sokoto State from the Sahel region through Niger in August last year without any intervention by authorities. There have been different times where trailer loads of young northern men are seen going into certain states and the people of the states raise their alarm, right? But then we'll always say that every Nigerian can move about in Nigeria without a fear of discrimination. If indeed this is happening, would you say the authorities were not aware of it, or they chose to look the other way? If they were not aware of it, wouldn't that show that our intelligence architecture is not up to date?
Chema, we are just repeating, just going around the circle. If architecture, if our intelligence had been up to date, they would have been checked and sent them back to where they come from. But if you look at the culture of the northerners and the borders, so porous, that some people will tell you that are from their backyard. They are the people of the same clan, the same ethnic group. But it is surprising that some people will be standing in front of their house and be telling you their backyard is the Republic of Niger, and that how can they fight that their brother? But our own government seems to be quiet about all these things until we identify who truly a Nigerian is in the north there. It will continue to happen. And besides, this is not only happen in Sokoto alone. No. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, a trailer load. In fact, Dangote to be precise, Dangote trailer load was held at Ondo State, carrying this militia to Lagos to do, and they were carrying weapons. Each that is what I'm going to say. I've been saying that these things have been politicalized, and until we begin to say yes, let us call a state, we will never find a solution to it. As the Northerners are coming, the Northerners won't claim that it's their right that they can live in any part of the country, but it is their right. Well, the constitutions allow you, if you're a Nigerian, you can settle in any part of the country. In quotes, settlements in quotes. But in the real sense of it, you cannot behave anyhow in any part of the country. You can't carry weapons. You can't fight against your host community, even in your own community. So the architecture legislation should be up to date. Let them have the information. Let them have the wherewithal. Let the CDAs wake up to their responsibilities and work together and work in harmony with the other security agencies. If not, they just be chasing shadows, doing nothing, and wasting resources. Thank you.
Talking about what the federal government is doing to end the scourge of insurgency in the country, about 5,000 individuals suspected of involvement in terrorism-related activities are currently being held in pre-trial detention facilities across the country. Federal government is saying they want to fast-track the trial of these 5,000 suspected insurgents.
5,000. For how long will they? You see that before you know it, they'll be granted freedom. They'll ask let's go and train them abroad, and that'll be the end of it. Let us use the method Russia is using. Look, a terrorist, a bandit is a saboteur. There are no two ways about it. And what Nigerian government criminalize saboteur. So what are we saying? Romancing them? Is that the solution? No. Let's treat these people as criminals. And until they are treated as criminals, they are tried and treated as criminals. That's okay. And what will be the end result is that until we have not started applying that, nothing will go. Because the matter of after they will imprison you for 5 years to come back and you regain your freedom. Nonsense. Arrest nonsense. When you handle it the way even the US handle terrorists, even the way Russia handles terrorists, even the way other countries across Europe handle terrorists, you will know that Nigerian situation will if you start doing that, these people will wake up and begin to do the needful. Look, I can't imagine how somebody will go to your community and decimate those communities in the name of war. Decimate them. You know what it means to leave your ancestral home? The emotional and psychological torture, the trauma, and everything, the economic weight. It is that because we are speaking for love or whatever. Until we throw this death, this will continue to happen. And I say we find out the situation. The earlier we find out the situation, the better. It is not prolonging the judgment. It is just a matter of prolonging the judgment. Is like keeping them waiting there. One government will come in and declare and give them freedom, and declared and said I have declared I have given them freedom in the name of independence. But that will never solve. That will never be a solution to it. Thank you.
Let's quickly talk politics now. The North Central APC Forum has warned against dropping Vice President Shettima in 2027. They say that abandoning the Muslim ticket would only strengthen the opposition in 2027. Now, this whole conversation arose because there was a meeting and Shettima's face was not on the banner. He was the president, 5 North Central governors, and someone else. And they are wondering, is there a ploy to drop him come 2027? And they say this does not augur well with them. What are your thoughts on this?
Just a way of testing the waters. But I must tell you, There's no need dropping a winning team or changing them. There's no need. If APC, if APC really want to go far, let them continue. Let Tinubu continue with the value. Statement. Don't drop him. Take him ahead because he has his own block that he's bringing to APC. And as I said, as a winning team, you don't just say you want to change by now. Really, you may change your teaching cabinet, you may change the ministers, you may change other things. But for the president, no, because most times vice presidents in Nigeria and in Nigeria are nothing but a lame duck. So if you don't want to use it again, just apply the theory of lame duck and the whole thing will go. And that's not the first time they're even applying that theory. You can see in the time of Jonathan. That was what Jonathan was until death promoted him to becoming the president. And you could see all the graduate that was involved before he became the president. So for Tinubu not to lose the status quo, let him not think along that line.
No, you actually believe that if he drops Shettima, he will not win the 2027 elections because he won't have the backing of the North.
If he drops Shettima, except he has somebody that is better than Shettima, and which from now in the North I have never seen, except he has somebody. But we never can say because politics is at times a game of mystery. It's like a pony. It can metamorphose into other things. So except he has somebody that is better than Shettima and that has the wherewithal and has the weight and the following of Shettima or more than Shettima, then that can go. But outside that, the answer should be a no. Except again, if the elders council in the North decides to say that should be. Because in Nigerian politics, in fact, the way we even play our politics seems to be different from how it is played in other times. Here, every candidate he represents a bloc, and that is how it is done in Nigeria. But anything outside that, a Shettima should not be dropped. Tinubu should rather tighten up their belt where it is pleasing and support their health. Thank you.
You know, amid the allegations of a Christian genocide in Nigeria, there have been the talks of the Muslim ticket being part of what is fueling that, right? And quite a number of Nigerians have said they are not happy about it. Political analysts and even people within the top echelon of power. And so they say if they say they've not found any Christian that has the kind of appeal that Shettima has in the North.
If Muslim is not the solution. I read not the time that the Muslim and things went right. I mean, that in fact, let us even remove religion from this. We should remove religion. That I don't know Christians that are there that are even stealing from the church so fast. So let's just remove religion. Anyone that can make this nation better, let the person be. Other Muslim, other Christian, or even a traditional religion worshipper. So far is the person that can make. So far is the person God has chosen to make this country move ahead. So be it. And besides, the Almighty God does not work like that. Because he could choose from anybody. He could even choose from a pagan to be advised, and yet we still deliver. So let's not begin to bring let us not even talk about the issue of religion when it begins to come to this. Because when we begin to do that, we'll be going to the anarchic system of the Egyptians and the Arabs. And that is why if you want to introduce religion into this, you know that you are driving the Nigerian system into the anarchic system of Egypt, Libya, and the Arabs. Thank you.
All right, then let's quickly talk about the Labour Party. Alex Oti's faction of the party, which is Nenadi Usman caretaker committee faction of the party as well. They're seeking a reconciliation. You know, the court has sacked Julius Abure, saying he should stop parading himself as the chairman of the Labour Party. And so they said they want to reconcile all factions of the party to give them a better standing. They should have a united front ahead of 2027. But the Abure faction does not want to hear of it, and they said they will head to the appeal court over the judgment.
Well, that should be the thing. That should be the right thing. By then, I never even expected they should have gone to court. And this is one thing I've been saying about LP. And this is another thing we'll be talking about in Nigerian policy. We don't have that sound position to challenge APC. Is it PDP, National, don't even have their nexus again. And now look at what is happening to LP. And if you just look at it, it's less than a year less than a year, don't even say a year before your other election year. So by now their home should have been put in order. Yes, working. I think for me, we should champion that cause and make sure there is a unity in that party. Once the center continue to be at loggerhead, once the center refuses to rule or to blame, you can see the party will be shattered and they will just be merely existing in name and not on the ground. And there is no party that will make headway if they don't have their grip on the people, on the ground, on grassroots, and they don't have the measures to follow to make sure that the huge crowd that is following them to defend them. That means they will really be dreaming of getting to the center, getting to the presidency, of which they will never achieve. So the party should be much more united. The Aburi should shut their thoughts and allow peace to reign. And no, by the time the party gets its bearings, all the stakeholders within, we have a share, we have a good share of the meeting. But for now, they should think of creating a formidable foundation so that their presidential candidates will have a better grip, or we make it becoming the president of Nigeria. That's if they can do their politicking properly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Awal Miko, for your time and your analysis on the world news at 12 this afternoon. I do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. You have been listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People on 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Trump will meet Zelensky as U.S. envoy says ending the war with Russia is down to one issue. More than 10 terrorists dead as ISWAP Boko Haram renew rivalry in Borno State. Rights advocate alleges 3 trailer loads of Lakurawa fighters enters Sokoto from Sahel in August, and North Central APC Forum warns against dropping Shatima. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. Good afternoon to you and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. Coming up shortly, It's Matters.